You are now listening to the NFT Quarterback Podcast with your host, Riki Van Winkle. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the NFT Quarterback Podcast with your host, Riki Van Winkle. Today, we're joined by my top NFL advisor, Danny Singh, and we're going to get, first of all, into the game from Thursday night, and then we're just going to look at the games for Week 4. All right, Danny, so what happened on Thursday night?
The big topic of discussion today is Tua Tagovailoa. Literally everyone and their mama is talking about this right now. Did you see what happened last night?
He got sacked, fell on his head, and apparently had head and spinal injuries.
Yeah, and then he also had a concussion on Sunday as well. And then he was out. Remember we had discussed throughout that Teddy Bridgewater coming to the game and we were like making jokes about it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then everyone on the radio is talking about how he shouldn't have been cleared to play. He came back too soon, and it's just honestly, it was really just a scary sight. It was scary to see, and it's sad. It was just sad.
Right. So last week he got injured. It's a similar thing. He fell on the back of his head.
Yeah.
And they put him back into the game. And there was a lot of criticism on that end. So this week, when he got hurt again for the same injury, there was no joking around. They had him on a stretcher, I believe, had his neck stabilized, everything for Tua.
Yeah, he immediately went to the hospital. From what I've read online, he has been released from the hospital, and I believe he's back in Florida, which I disagree with. I think he should have at least stayed, if not in the hospital, at least stayed in Cleveland overnight. You know, like, what was the rush? I mean, not Cleveland, Cincinnati. I mean, what was the rush to bring him back? You know, like, are they expecting him to play next week? Is that what their biggest concern is right now? I mean, you got to consider this guy's health long term at this point. Like, it's just negligent on the end of the Miami Dolphins. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, so I was looking at the stats also. Tua, if he's not leading the league in passing yards, he's very close to doing it. And two of his receivers are leading the league in receiving yards with Waddle and Hill. So I'm just thinking as an owner or as a team, they're thinking they have one of the best assets in the league playing on their team right now. And they want to get a return on their investment. So this is a horrible thing, but this is kind of like a business look at it. But they're trying to get a return on investment from Tua, and of course, after last week, that just led to an absolute disaster this week.
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely just thinking about the possible revenue that they're gonna make from this guy and their two wide receivers. They're not really taking into consideration his health. That's how I feel at the moment.
Yeah. So Teddy Bridgewater comes in yet again, and who won that game? It was Cincinnati, right?
So Cincinnati won. Teddy Bridgewater didn't play bad, but he threw an interception with like 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and then Cincinnati went down and scored a touchdown, and it just seemed like they just didn't have enough offensively without Tua, you know? And once he had gotten hurt, I had told some friends, I was like, yeah, this game's over. Like, no offense, but Cincinnati is a good team. The Bengals are a good team, and yeah.
Right. So Cincinnati came through Joe Burrow, but he knows he had to win that game to get them back to 500. I believe they started off 0-2. Cincinnati did. So he definitely had to win that game. I feel like he came through. I didn't watch the offensive line as much as I would have liked to. So I'm not sure what kind of pressure Miami was putting on defense, which is also another question for them going down the line. How much pressure can they create with their 4 defensive linemen, or maybe they have 3 defensive linemen. I'm not sure what kind of defense they run. But that's kind of a question for them long term if they want to get far in the playoffs. Let's say Tua does come back. How can they get pressure on the opposing quarterback?
The Dolphins?
The Dolphins, yeah.
They have a good defensive line.
Okay.
It's just that the Cincinnati Bengals, I, I believe they ran what I heard. They ran their 8th different offensive line, like
Combination.
player combination. So they finally got something figured out. It seems like um, the Dolphins did the defense did hold them up pretty well. They're that team's got a lot of fight in them. You know, they've got a lot of star players on the offensive and defensive end. They just it's it's hard in that division, in that conference right now.
Yeah. The good thing about Miami is they did get one of their wins against Buffalo. So, well, right now they played 4 games and Buffalo's played 3, so they're ahead of the division, but it's 3-1. And if Buffalo wins again, then they'll be tied up 3-1. But Miami has the advantage there, so they can sit atop of the AFC East for another week at least.
Yeah, I mean the Bills do have the Ravens. They are going to Baltimore this week, so they've
Okay.
got a tough matchup there. Um, yeah, man,
Well,
it's
speaking
just
speaking of games, let's go ahead and just start with that Bills Ravens game. What do you see going on in that game? What do you see happening? I think Lamar Jackson is fifth in the league right now with 243 rushing yards, tied with Christian McCaffrey. So the Ravens offense has a good attack, and he's doing well in passing yards, but he's nowhere near the top of the league. Or
yeah, that guy literally a one man wrecking ball. He is their entire offense right now. He's running, he's throwing. He might be the only player that can throw the ball down the field and he'll be able to run fast enough to catch it.
the guy,
So
it's incredible. Yeah.
yeah, he is attempting that Aaron Judge season
Okay.
where it's a contract year and he is gonna do everything in his power to get that maximum amount of money possible.
Definitely. I mean,
um, yeah, it looks like the Bills are favored in that game by 3 points. That one, I'm gonna take the upset. I'm gonna take the Ravens on that. I think its game is in Baltimore. I think Lamar has a big game and he pulls out a win there.
okay. It's tough. I think it's tough to pick against Buffalo right now. If anybody can compete with them, it's Baltimore. Oh, I'd pick Buffalo in that game.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of faith in the Baltimore defense like I used to. And the Bills offense is off the charts this season. So, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Bills defense is definitely legit. Don't get me wrong. I think that they're arguably the best defense in the league at the moment. So
The Bills defense,
yeah, Bills defense.
even without their safeties out there,
Who do they have injured at the moment? Let
Poyer,
me.
Poyer and Hyde, both of their safeties. One of them's
Oh,
in.
Hyde is injured at the moment. That's a big loss right there.
Yeah, those are the guys
So
with the experience right there.
that actually makes me more confident about picking Baltimore. So
All right, let's get into this London game, Minnesota and New Orleans.
the game across the pond, as they're calling it.
Yes, and they're playing it at. It's going to be played at 3:30 here, so it's going to be 6:30 in the morning for California.
Yeah, 6:30 p.m. I mean
Is
a.m.
yeah,
Pacific time is what I'm looking at the moment. It looks like New Orleans has got some players hurt. Or questionable at least. Alvin Kamara is questionable. Mike Thomas, the wide receiver, is out. Uh, Jarvis Landry is questionable. I've heard on the radio that Winston is also questionable.
with a back
So
injury.
with the back injury, that's a bit scary. Those are tough. With all those injuries, I'm gonna take the favorite. the Minnesota Vikings in that game. The neutral location, even though Kirk Cousins isn't very good in primetime games, I don't know. This is like a mid-level game, not really prime time, not really morning game. It's like out there, middle of nowhere, neutral location. So, yeah,
You're
I'll take
pro-
the Vikings in that game.
you're probably the first person to say that London is in the middle of nowhere.
No, I'm saying like in regards to like it being a prime time game or being like a morning game. It's like a mid-level game.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm
Because
gonna.
like, yeah, London's one of the biggest cities in the world. But I mean, how much do they love football out there?
Yeah, that's to be seen. I don't. Nothing like if they were to play it in New Orleans or in Minnesota.
Yeah, it would definitely be a much more hostile atmosphere.
Definitely. So I'm gonna go with you on this one. I'm gonna take Minnesota also.
Okay.
I've been picking Minnesota all season. I'm big on the Minnesota bandwagon. Next up, we got Cleveland and Atlanta.
Cleveland and hot Atlanta. This one, let's see, man. All my friends are texting me about the recession right now over here. It's crazy. But we'll talk about that later.
All right, all right.
This one, I will also. This is only a -1 favorite for the Browns, but I will be taking Hot Atlanta at home. Marcus Mariota showed me some things I really liked last week. They had a lot of fight, a lot of grit. I am taking Hot Atlanta
Nice,
Falcons.
nice. I'm gonna go with Cleveland on this one. I like their defense way too much to not pick Cleveland. And the running game is also really good. I mean, Nick Chubb, you can't say much about him negative. So I'm gonna go with Cleveland on that one.
Yeah, their running game is definitely one of the best two-man punch game at the moment with Hunt and Chubb.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Definitely, I feel like that's like the way to do it in the modern NFL. You gotta have a two-man punch. It's the days of having that one Adrian Peterson or who else were those big guys just chugging along back in the day.
Yeah, you could think of like
Frank Gore.
Frank Gore, yeah. I'm trying to think of that guy that played for the Rams, Marshall Faulk, would do stuff like
Yeah,
that. You had the
day.
guy
Oh
for
man,
Seattle,
remember LT, LaDainian Tomlinson back in the
right?
day for the
Right.
Chargers? Man, yeah, the days of having the one guy just getting all the carries, I think that's done. It's just too much on their body. You got to have that two-man punch where it's like you got to keep the defense on their toes. Like, hey, so is this guy brought in as a distraction, or is this guy actually going to run the ball now?
Yeah.
You know.
Speaking of two-man punches, Dallas at home against Washington. Dallas has their running back by committee with Zeke and I don't know the other guy's name right now, but he's good also. The second guy,
Pollard.
Thank you. How do you see that game
Yeah.
going? Washington at Dallas.
You know what? I really hope they don't let me down with this pick because I never have any faith in the Dallas Cowgirls ever.
Man.
But you know what? This week I'll be rooting for the Cowboys. All right? How about them Cowboys, huh? Let's
one
go.
time ever.
At home, I'm gonna pick them. Divisional game. They won a divisional game last week. They knew how important that was. And I think they're going to put a lot of emphasis on this week as well, out there in Jerry's world. And let's go. Cooper Rush, man, playing his heart out.
There we go.
But he doesn't want that Colt McCoy training. He wants that Patrick Mahomes training.
Cooper Rush is looking for a contract after he plays with Dallas.
Oh, yeah. I wonder what his contract situation is like.
I don't know, but as a backup, you could probably move pretty fast. I don't know how long they lock those guys up for.
I mean, yeah, I'm guessing, right? They're on fairly short contracts. I'm guessing you're not going to sign your backup to like a 4 or 5 year deal.
Yeah. I can't see how that
Yeah,
would make any sense.
yeah. You're probably locking up 1, maybe 2 years.
Yeah, 6 mil a year just to hang out.
Because also, like, why would you want to be a backup for more than 1 year, unless you're just like, yeah, I like the number 1 QB. Me and him are friends.
Yeah, right. They take the backup role seriously and they know the playbook. I don't know. I don't know. Or they're just
Whenever
afraid to be on the
the defense
field as a
runs
starter.
on- whenever the defense runs onto the field, that's when I know they get him a towel so he can cool off.
Oh
I
man.
know he's coming to the sideline and he's gonna be thirsty, so I've got a water bottle ready for him.
Oh man. Cooper can't catch a break, bro.
He's playing really good right now.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. At the same time, I want Washington to win. In that sense, I'm gonna pick Washington to win, but I really don't know what's gonna happen in this game.
Yeah, me neither. Offensively, Washington is just not really there,
No.
but they've got a hell of a defense. Don't get me wrong about that.
They lost their guy though. They lost that defensive pass rusher who was so disruptive in his rookie season. Chase Young, I want to say was his name, or is his name.
Injury report. They have 2 guys. They have Wes Schultzer and Charles Leno.
Right, but Young was hurt before the season. He's been out for the season, so I think he's on injured reserve.
Okay. So let's get a full injury report then. Let's see what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean this game, it's important for Dallas, but catching Philadelphia in that division is a tough task at the moment, considering how well Jalen Hurts is playing. For Dallas to catch up, they'd have to play good consistently. And one thing about Dallas is they seem to always be inconsistent at the most inopportune times. Like when they're playing Washington at home, for example, would be a time where you're like, you wouldn't be surprised if Dallas lost the game.
Yeah, right. These are the games that it's like they always miss on these layups. You're right, in the past. So that's why I'm kind of just like, they gotta let me down again the one time I pick up.
Oh man.
But yeah, I just looked it up. You're right. It was a defensive end by Chase Young. He's out for the season.
Yeah. All right, next game we got Seattle at Detroit. Detroit is, are they 2-1, I believe? Or are they 1-2?
They've got to be 1-2, man. They got.
I feel like it, yeah. I feel like that division though is 2-1 with the Vikings, and then it's 2-1 Packers, and then 2-1 Bears, who lost their first game last week.
Bears and the Lions are both 1-2.
Okay, my bad.
I think the Bears have their only win against
the 49ers.
Yeah, week 1. That kind of fluke victory. Because since then, reality is kind of set in for the Bears. They're just like, yeah, it's not going to be a monsoon every single time you play. So
yeah, they don't have that advantage anymore, especially in Detroit in the dome.
Yeah.
Well, but they're not playing. They're not playing Detroit. Seattle's playing Detroit. But
yeah, Seattle playing Detroit. I think Seattle kind of got that fluke victory again, also week 1 against the Broncos, where the crowd definitely was a factor in that game.
So you're saying they don't have a chance on the road?
On the road, it's much more difficult for them because at home they have just that crazy fan support, So this game, look at that, Detroit's favorite by 3.5 points.
I take
and
it.
At home, I'll be taking Detroit. I like their coach.
Yeah.
My guy, what's his name? Something Daniels or
I don't know. I don't know his name.
Yeah, me either. Let's see.
And while you're looking for that, so Seattle is most likely at the bottom of the NFC West.
Yeah.
And they're probably sitting there with the 49ers. The Rams, I believe, are at the top of that division. And behind them must be the Cardinals, although I'm not aware of what the Cardinals' record is at the moment.
The Cardinals is a team I've got no faith in. They got one lucky win out of the Raiders because the Raiders started celebrating a little too soon.
Yeah.
Reality set in for them as well last week. Remember I told you the Call of Duty new update was released, so don't put any money
in Kyler Murray's direction.
Yeah. That boy was thinking about the new updates and the new layouts and all that stuff.
Yeah, the new touchdown dances.
Yeah, who do you got in the Detroit Seattle game?
I'm taking Detroit. I don't think Seattle's strong at all this year. So they're going to win a couple games, but it almost makes sense to always pick against them. That's just kind of my feeling about them right now.
Definitely. And yeah, and after losing last week, now they're like, haha, we got the tiebreaker. They get the number one pick.
They're all in now.
Joke's on you, Atlanta.
Speaking of jokes, Indianapolis Colts. They're at home against Tennessee Titans. Taylor is pretty low on the rushing list this season. Matt Ryan is less than impressive. Tennessee, they started getting their mojo back with the running game last week. I believe they played the Raiders last week and won.
Yeah.
So they got
a victory. And Indianapolis actually played the Chiefs, and they got a victory out of that. So yeah.
So this is a game a week ago you just think, oh my God, this is horrible. Like both of these teams are horrible. And then they come out and they win last week. So now you're like, well, which of those teams actually was good then the whole time, right? So both of them get a win. Was one of those wins a fluke? Were both of those wins flukes? I really don't know what to think. I just know that because Tennessee played the Raiders, that could be more of a fluke win because at this point anybody can beat the Raiders. And beating the Chiefs is a more impressive feat. So
yeah, for sure. Definitely a much more impressive victory from the Colts. The Colts did play at home against the Chiefs last week, and looks like they'll be playing at home again this week. So that's crazy to think. They played 2 home games in a row. Well, you know what? The Titans played at home last week as well. So the Titans played at home and beat the Raiders. Now they're going to be going on the road. And they are 3.5 point underdogs. I am going to take the Titans in this game. Even though they're on the road, I'm going to take the underdog. I kind of feel like I shouldn't.
It's a tough pick.
This is a tough pick, man. This one. Let me see what else we got here.
I would take Indianapolis in this game. If they're playing at home again and they won last week at home, they have a little bit of momentum. Maybe they can do something. Maybe.
I'm going to go with you. I'm going to take the Colts.
Okay.
I'm going to take because this seems like it's a little bit too tough of a pick. It's like, oh, man. They're on the road. Yeah.
It's a tough test.
I guess I'll go with the favorite. I'll take Indianapolis.
All right. Next, we got your favorite QB, Danny Dimes, at home.
Oh, Dimes at home.
Playing a formidable opponent in the Chicago Bears.
This one, I've got no faith in the Chicago Bears at all. zero faith. There's no way I'm gonna take them, especially on the road. I think I may have picked them last week, but they played the Texans last week and they're at home. So this week I'm 100% going back with my boy Danny Dimes. Contract year. Come on.
Let's go. Can you lock that one in? Or
Let me think. Let me read through here and let me see. A lock of the week. Nah, my lock of the week, I just looked at it. The Packers over the Patriots. That's not.
oh,
I don't think that's going to be even close. It's in Green Bay. I think Mac Jones is out for the foreseeable future. Belichick has just been like, he's day to day. You don't ask me. I'm not a doctor. He's like, what are the doctors? The reporter's like, what do the doctors say? Well, the doctors say that he's day to day. So that's all I can say. And like he just every time they ask him a question, he's like, well, it's day to day. We're taking it day to day. Well, today is today. Tomorrow's tomorrow. He is not. Yeah. Uh, as far as I know, Mac Jones is not practicing with the team, so that he's not going to be playing.
Definitely, that's a good pick.
And then, you go.
I'm gonna take Green Bay also, and in that last game we were talking about, I'll take the Giants. But get back to what you were saying about Green Bay, New England.
Green Bay is they're also just catching their stride, So look for them to really try to put some points up in this game, I'm thinking. And then on top of that, the Patriots are an organization that aren't going to risk an injury to especially a franchise quarterback, almost like the exact opposite of what the Miami Dolphins just did. So if Mac Jones needs a couple of weeks to take a break, they're definitely going to do that. They're in the middle of a rebuild, and they know that, so they're just like, it's okay. Take some time off, man. I believe he's going to be their quarterback for the next 5-6 years or so.
All right. So you're locking in Green Bay. I'm going to lock in Jacksonville over Philadelphia on the road.
Oh, that is bold. That is, you know what? That is a battle of the undefeated right there. 2-3-0 teams. That's the game, I'm telling you, before the season started, I'm guessing no one would have. Oh, no, actually, Jacksonville's 2-1. My bad. They lost one game. But before the season, I'm sure no one would have thought of this as being like a big game, one that everyone's going to have their eyes on. But yeah, I'm thinking, well, there's also the Broncos and Raiders, and there's the Chiefs and Buccaneers. So there are a lot of good games coming up this week. I'm excited.
Yeah. Who would you
pick? This is one of the games I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on, for sure.
Who do you think is going to come out victorious on this one?
Ooh, this one, I'm fans of both teams. Let's see, what is the spread? Wow. Eagles are favored by a heavy amount, 6.5. That is quite a lot. I'm going to take the Eagles because they're at home. And they are definitely clicking on all. They are firing on all cylinders at the moment. So I'll be taking the Eagles in this game.
Nice. Next up, we got New York Jets at Pittsburgh. Is this going to be Kenny Pickett's coming out party?
As far as I know, they're still going with Trubisky. So Tomlin's also similar to Belichick in that aspect, where he doesn't really give his thoughts doesn't really tell his thoughts to the media very much, So I think Trubisky will be starting still, but I hear that Wilson may be making a comeback.
Now, I've heard that through the grapevine. I don't know what kind of help that will bring, having a young guy come in not middle of the season, but kind of later in the season. He's got to break off the rust immediately against guys who've been going at it every week or kind of in a rhythm. Especially the quarterback position, it's tough, I believe, to just step in unless you're, a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers or somebody of that caliber. But here, this guy's still trying to prove himself, and now he's going to come into a difficult situation. Yeah, I don't see him having much success this week.
Yeah, for him to try to come into this game, even though TJ Watt isn't going to be there, the Steelers' defense is still a force to be reckoned with. They're not the same, definitely not the same without Watt, but I believe that they'll have enough to take care of the Jets. So I'm going with Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. So I'm taking Pittsburgh also. Let's get into this one. The Chargers at Houston. What are your thoughts on that?
I think they're going to blow them out.
The Chargers are going to blow out the Texans.
I think the Chargers are going to blow them out. I think this will be the game that the Chargers get it all together. They kind of need an easy game. They need a layup, and it won't be the easiest layup. It'll be like a fast break layup, and someone's coming from behind. Like, oh, you can hear the footsteps, but it's still a clear route to the basket. You just gotta jump, gotta get to the basket first, and lay it in.
Yeah.
He's coming. It's gonna be on the road, and the Texans are gonna try as hard as they can. So they're not just gonna give it to you, but Herbert needs to get right game. I think the Chargers will win this game.
I think with Herbert, he's got that bruised rib cartilage or whatever it is. He should just chill. Just chill. I mean, they are playing the Texans.
Right?
What's that?
You think he needs to sit out? Hey, you relax, man. Don't worry.
Yeah, man. Are you going to play a quarterback with bruised rib cartilage or, damaged rib cartilage? Does that sound like a good idea to you?
No, definitely does not.
I mean, it's got to be hard to breathe, first of all, and then you might get smashed in the. They're probably going to come for his his abdomen to his chest.
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely gonna target him. They're gonna try to.
These boys are just crazy that they would go out on the field. I would never, with bruised ribs or forget it. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. You think he's gonna play? He's gonna play good. You got the Chargers in there. I'm also gonna pick the Chargers. Who are the Houston Texans? They have a guy named Mills as quarterback. I looked at his stats in my.
You know what? I just looked at the injury report. It looks like Joey Bosa is gonna get surgery, bro.
Ooh. That's a tough blow for the Chargers.
That is a tough blow right there.
Ouch.
Keenan out as well. Ugh, I might have to revert pick.
Come on. You gonna pick the Texans? I don't care if they're wheeling out the third string against the Texans. I'd pick the Chargers either way.
Let's see.
If Brave Herbert's going to come in there and tough it out, then the Chargers are most likely going to win this game.
The Chargers have got some games coming up. They've got to play Texans. So this week is an easy one. Next week, they got to go to the Browns. And then the week after that, the Broncos come into town. So they can take this strategically two different ways. Try to rest up this game and be well rested for the next two games, or just say, hey man, these next two games we're gonna lose anyway. We might as well just go all out against the Texans.
Well, they need a W.
They needed to.
to keep
You
up
know what?
with the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs, and then now Broncos are the top.
Ah,
Or what?
I'm not feeling the Broncos, bro. Come on.
You sounded like someone stabbed you in the gut.
Yeah, because you're like, I know I know you're not about to hype the Broncos, who
I'll tell
just
you like
won
this.
11-10 against the Niners.
I'll tell you like this, man. The Broncos' offense is only going to get better as the season progresses because they're going to become more familiar with one another. And Russell Wilson can still dish it out, man. So as
Well,
the as the season goes on, their offense is going to continue to get better. I promise you that.
well, they have a great opportunity this week because they're playing in Vegas against the doormat of the National Football League, the
Oh,
Las
dude.
Vegas Raiders.
So okay, so you picked the Chargers on that, right? You
Yeah,
got
I
no
got the
faith.
Chargers, 100%. That's not my lock, but I'm not picking the Texans.
If it wasn't for Keenan Allen and Joey Bosa being out, if it wasn't for those two guys being out, then I would have locked him in. But yeah, that's a bit risky. Risky. All right, so we're moving on to the Raiders and the Broncos.
Correct.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Did you see Russell Wilson's sandwich commercial?
I've heard about it. I mean, he's just a corn. He's just a corny guy. That's all I can say. He owns it.
He left that filming and he's talked to his agent. He said, "Did you read that script?"
Let's see. The Raiders are 2.5 points favorite.
Oh my god.
You know what? I'm taking the Raiders on this. They actually just had a players only meeting this week, and some people don't think players only meetings work, but the Niners had a players only meeting last year when they were like 2-5 or something, and they turned that season around.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll work. Carr he's a good leader. Doesn't lead the team much anywhere, but people follow him. It's just the truth, man. I
It's
mean,
one of those
I
that's
like the
like,
guy.
oh, I don't know where we're going, but we're going. Come
Yeah.
on,
Let's
come on,
go. Yeah.
tie your shoes, grab your backpack. We're heading out. Where are we going, Clark? We're gonna find out together.
Yeah. And then they find themselves on like a cliff and it a rock slide starts happening right underneath their feet. And but they'll follow Carr anywhere. I give the guy credit for that. This
And he'll be
game,
like, well, we had a good ride.
yeah. Now we're going down fast and hard. This
Who you
game,
got?
this game is a crapshoot. I think
Oh, for sure.
I want to pick the Raiders because I have a very soft spot in my heart for the Raiders. Ugh, I don't. I'm gonna pick Denver. I'm not gonna bet against the losing streak the Raiders have.
I can see that. I can definitely see that for sure.
Another interesting matchup: Arizona at the Baker Mayfields.
At the Baker Mayfields. You
Carolina.
know, Carolina. It looks like Carolina is a 1 point favorite in this game. Um, only because they are the favorite, I will be taking the Arizona Cardinals, the opposite team. only because only because Baker is a favorite in this game. I'm like, no, he's gonna shit the bed. So I'll be taking the underdog.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Carolina in this game. Not because I believe in Baker Mayfield, but because I don't believe in Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I don't believe in Kyler Murray neither, but let's see. McCaffrey's questionable
Oh, come on, McCaffrey.
every year, brother. Every year.
That's that Stanford education for you right there.
Oh, something's wrong, coach. I gotta sit out. I learned this at Stanford.
You can't argue with me, coach. I have a degree from Stanford.
Yeah. Where did you go, huh? A state school? You gonna look at him and say, no. You don't know. I know way more than you, okay?
Yeah, come on, coach. I'm
I was taking
questionable.
junior, okay? Yeah. They don't just let anybody into Stanford, coach.
Yeah, you gotta have. I don't know. Oh man. All right, so yeah, I'm picking Carolina. You got Arizona coming through big time.
Yep.
Next game we got KC at Tampa Bay. Is this a
This,
rematch of the Super Bowl a couple years back?
yep, exactly. That's exactly what it is. I'm happy to put this as a Sunday night game. This is the game of the week for sure. They've got Tampa Bay, the favorite. Oh, actually, no, it's even. Pick them.
It's even.
Yeah, even. The spread is even.
Tough. I would take Tom Brady.
Yeah, even though it's said to never bet against Tom Brady,
You're gonna do it?
highly likely he's going to get 2 losses in a row because they just lost to the Packers last week.
Yeah.
Godwin is questionable. Julio Jones is questionable.
Tough to say. KC, they also lost last week, so it's not opportune for them to lose this week. Of course, it's never
Oh,
opportune to lose, but what are they
that's
gonna
true.
do?
Yeah, two losses in a row. That's probably unlikely. I'll be going with Mahomie.
Patrick Mahomes.
That's Mahomie. I'm taking him.
Money in the bank. I wouldn't be surprised if KC pulls it off.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hell of a game.
Mike Evans, is he coming back this week or is he still suspended?
I believe it was just a 1-game suspension, so I believe he should be back this week.
Okay. Yeah, it's
So,
gonna be good to have him back. But
yeah, for sure.
isn't it the same place they played the Super Bowl too? They're playing in Tampa Bay right now.
Yeah, that is hilarious. It's like a
It's like the exact same rematch as before.
yeah.
The thing I find most interesting is that Tom Brady chose Tampa Bay and they both have the same initials. I wonder if he did that on purpose.
I mean, I had never thought I had never realized that before. I don't know why more people aren't talking about that.
That's your stat
Or
of the
maybe
night.
and I'm just late to the party. Maybe everyone is talking about that for the last couple of years.
Yeah. I haven't heard too much talk about it. I was just looking at it right now and I see the TB on my game sheet and I'm just thinking TB 12 or TB 45, excuse me.
Is it 45 or is it 12?
Well, it's TB 12 is his brand, but you call him TB 45 because he's 45 years old.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I credit that to Jim Rome. That's his saying, so I can't take credit for that. Next one, the Rams at San Francisco. Here we go. Time for San Francisco to actually step up to the plate and do something of interest, i.e., beating the Rams, who they beat last year in Week 17 when they needed to get into the playoffs.
You know what? The Niners have had the Rams number for the last couple of years. They said something about the Niners are like 10-1 against the Rams in like the last 5 years, and that one loss was in last year's NFC Championship game. So on that note, and on the fact that they're gonna be home, plus they're underdogs, and no one thinks, I don't think anyone is counting them in. Everyone thinks Jimmy G is gonna shit the bed like he did last week. I'm thinking this as a redemption game for Jimmy. I'll be going with the Niners at home.
Nice. My heart's telling me to go with the Niners. My brain is telling me to pick the Rams. So I'm gonna pick the Rams. I don't like making that pick. I gotta be honest, but I'm just thinking the Rams have way too much to prove, and the Niners have way too much to figure out. So the Rams will overpower them in that sense and go ahead and just take this game.
My dad and my brother are both Rams fans, and they admit it. They're like, "Yeah, the Niners just have our number. They just have recent years." And
But that was the exact same thing if you think back to like 2000, that the Rams just kind of walked all over the 49ers. It was pretty embarrassing to watch. Of course, they did have that Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk team, but still, you can't. It was the same kind of thing. They had lost like I don't know how many games in a row to the Rams. So it could just be now the time has come, especially if you think about mathematically. I mean, what is the probability that the Niners win the next 14 games against the Rams? Or, at some point the math has to break that down so that it can return to whatever their overall record is, that kind of average.
that's true. That's that's very true.
All right, man.
This week though, I'm still gonna be going with the Niners. So yeah.
I like it. I like the pick. All right, Danny. We got all the games in, man. We picked them all. I got the list right here with all the picks. Did you write down your picks?
Yeah. I have a list over here too. It's like a wager thing that I got from Tahoe a couple weeks ago. So I literally have like week 1 through 18 on this.
Oh, nice.
Staple.
So let me ask you real quick while you're on the podcast. How often do you go and make wagers on the games?
I used to go like once or twice a month, but this year I haven't. This year I just went once before the season, and I just did some like uh overall season bets, like
Futures, right?
Yeah, so I did some futures. Like I put money on Josh Allen to win MVP. I think I also took. Who else? I think I put some money on the Vikings just because that's my team, right? So I'm gonna put money on them every year to win to win. Kirk Cousins win the MVP because I think Kirk Cousins was like 85-1. I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll put $10 on that.
That's good money.
Yeah, that's like $850. I had also picked the Eagles to win their division, and that's looking pretty good. I think I put money on the Raiders to win their division, but that's not looking very good. I think I put money on Miami to win their division, and it was looking good until last night.
Yeah, but the ratio on that must have been good too. What were the odds on that one?
I think it was. I can just go grab these bets real quick. Hold on.
All right.
Let's see what they got here. Let's see. The Dolphins were plus 400, so basically 4-1 odds on the Dolphins. The Raiders were plus 450, so plus 4.5. The Eagles are plus 145. So for every dollar I put down, I get $1.45 back. And the Vikings were plus 240. to win their division. So that bet's still kind of in there, you know.
Yeah. That one in Miami, well, of course, like you said, it's looking different in Miami now, but the the odds seem good, and if you can get in there at and have a chance, a real opportunity to make some money there, then it sounds good to me. I like the picks you made.
Yeah. Oh man, the Jaguars were plus 700 to win their division.
Oh, dude.
That would have been that's 7-1 right there. So that would have been a bet to get in on.
Yeah.
That would have been a really good bet right there.
All right, Danny. Thank you very much for being on the podcast today. Really appreciate you. Appreciate your time. And we'll talk to you next time, man.
Yeah, anytime, bro.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the NFT Quarterback Podcast. A special thanks to our guest, Danny Singh, for coming on the program, always being ready with his football knowledge. The production of this episode was sponsored by RMT Books. If you guys are looking to get your name out there, to get your brand out there, go to rmtbooks.com and get yourself set up today.